Hey, what's up, guys? It is Labor Day, and I am posting a video. I'm actually working today, and been pretty busy, actually. Very rainy here in New England, but I think we could use the rain. So, what I wanted to talk about is I try to think of things I can intelligently and confidently talk about, the things I have no experience with or pretending to know. Today I wanted to talk about being able to recognize when people are trying to take advantage of you. Now, whatever I ever say, I'm telling you, I'm not saying this judgmentally. I'm not saying this to put anybody down, all right? Because bad people can become good people, and good people can become bad people, right? They can make bad choices. The only person that I believe can judge you is God, right? And that's what I believe. So, but one thing is for sure: if you're my kid, if you're one of my kids or my friends or family members, somebody that has an interest in my opinion, if not, like, just don't listen. Right? Just click this, just hit stop and move on. But if you want to get my 2 cents on when do I know someone is taking advantage of me, now that could be. That can apply to a multitude of situations. That's a blanket statement. So whether you are rich or poor, whether you're a male or female, whether this applies to business or friendship, there's all kinds of red flags for me at this stage of my life that go off, you know, as I interact with people. Again, no saint, I'm not an angel, I'm not perfect, but you know, I can certainly sense sometimes when things are not as they should be. So here's what I look for. I'm going to give you a few examples and how this could apply. This is, you know, when you think about investing, because this channel is mainly to encourage my kids. That is the main purpose of me doing this. It's not because I'm trying to get likes and subscribes. You'll never probably, I would imagine, you'll never hear me say that because I don't care if you do or don't. This is more of a documentary for my sons and daughters, and you know, maybe some friends and family, and some conversations about investing in stocks, options, cryptocurrencies, and yourself, and real estate, and things that I believe in and come to find very valuable as I've gotten older. So I have a property that is 2 units that could easily be 4 units, and my wife and I are discussing how that's going to go. Right? She believes 2 units is good enough. I think 3 or 4 units is better because I believe in the mantra of cash flow, not because I invented it, but it just makes sense to me. If you take 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, $1 million, or whatever that number is, and you invest it into just stuff you want. You're like, man, I took out this $200,000 from a property, and what did you do with it? I bought this really cool motorcycle. Or I did some landscaping in my backyard that looks really cool. I put a pool in. I updated my kitchen. I bought some cool clothes or a watch I really wanted to wear. I don't think there's any benefit that's a liability because you took debt to buy something, right, that's costing you money and interest, and it's not cash flow. There's no cash flow there. So I don't want to throw that word around, but cash flow to me is like I bought something that generates money. It covers the debt, and I have an over allowance for that debt. To me, that's what cash flow means. So I have this property that we're going to, it'll at least be 2 units. If I can get 3 or 4, I think it'd be better. But we had a contractor that I really like. He's a young guy. I'm not going to talk too much about him, but very, very likable for me. I just really like this guy. I think he's a good kid. But he did something the other day that was a big turnoff for me doing future business transactions with him. And I'm going to share that with you. So I was putting a vinyl fence in the property, and I wasn't sure if he was able to do the whole fence, but he said he could. So I said, well, why don't you just do this section, the 2 sides of the house. If you drove up to the house, it would be curb appeal where you'd see the 2 sides of the vinyl. It just looks nice. And at this property, In the back is conservation land, and there's lots of woods. So it's not really necessary that it has the vinyl in the back. You know, it just not. But I said, well, do that. I go, tell me how much it'll cost for the material, and tell me what you'll charge for labor, and give me an idea before you do it. Because anytime I ever just say, hey, let me know, bill me, I'm usually disappointed. It's usually like I'm never like pleasantly surprised. Like, wow, that was a lot less than I anticipated. Usually it's like, whoa, I should have checked that company or that person before I had them do the work. So that's, you know, a rule that I follow, is generally try to get a quote, a hard number. Otherwise, it ends up being regrettable. So the guy got the materials, and to make a long story short, he did the job, and I noticed there was a pile of this extra material left of these panels and posts and top pieces, you know, like just extra pieces, quite a few, and they were piled next to a couple bags of garbage. And I said, what are you doing with that? He's like, oh, I'm going to get rid of the garbage. And I said, well, what do you mean, get rid of the garbage? Oh, those are brand new panels. He's like, oh yeah, you want me to throw them away? And I was like, no, I don't want you to throw them away. I did the math. I'm like, that's like $500-600 worth of material. Why would I want you to throw it away? And immediately he got like, well, what I was going to do is find some extra pieces from another job and come back. And that right immediately I was just like, oh man, no, not you, no, because I really like the guy. But I thought, if I can't trust you in a small thing, how am I ever going to trust you in a bigger thing? Because him and some of his partners were like, hey, do you want to invest with us in some other properties? Like, because he's a builder, he's pretty good, right? He's like, you want to invest with me in some of these other properties? And I was like, now? No, because if you'll try to screw me over in a little thing like that, over a few $100, or less than $1,000, how am I going to trust you in some bigger things? And I think this is how it works with a lot of things in life. Like if you can't depend on people for the small stuff, how are you going to depend on them for bigger jobs? Like, and that could be if you have somebody that works for you or with you, and you delegate some type of responsibility, and they don't show up, or they make excuses, or the job doesn't get done, or they don't stay late, or come in early, or do whatever needs to be done they just make excuses. You're probably not going to rely on that person to do the task. So, I mean, this is one of the things that I look at when I'm interacting with someone, and that could be anything. Now, I won't get into some of the other things that I think are really important, but if it was my sons, I would say there's friends that aren't really your friend. They have an agenda, and sometimes they pretend to be your friend because there's something they want from you, right? And I think in business, there's tactful ways to accomplishing the goal, right? But I don't think it's good to be a liar. I don't think it's good to be sneaky, right? I think you can always get more respect being a stand-up guy. Now, it doesn't mean you have to show all your cards, right? But it also means that you don't want to lie, cheat, and steal, because that eventually will come back, to hurt you and to harm your reputation and cost you more than you thought you made to do that transaction. So you got to pay attention. I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes I ask questions I already know the answer to, and somebody taught me that years ago, where they already know the answer. They just want to see how you respond. They're going to look at your tone of voice, or hear your tone of voice, your facial expressions, your body language. They'll ask you the same questions a few times to see if you have the same answer, each time. I know a lot of very successful people that do that, and I will do that myself. I'll do that with my kids, and I'll do that with some of the people I do some transaction with. So I don't want to talk too long on it today. It's something I wanted to touch upon, because that I just shared with you happened very recently, and it was just like it's like if you ever banged your knee and you're just like, it's a bit sore. I'm just like a little bit sore that happened. And I think it's important. I think it's important that you pay attention and keep an eye out for that. So that's all I have for you on Labor Day. I hope you had a nice day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. The market is closed today, so hopefully tomorrow will be a good day. See you later, guys.